So hey guys, thank you for clicking on this video and I hope you guys are having a good day. Today is gonna be a little bit of a creepy video. So I have my spider lamp right here, my dogs right here, and I have this little Halloween scarf that I got at Dollar General. But anyways, we're gonna be talking about the Victorian era, which took place from 1837 to 1901. So guys, this was a very interesting time. So just to kind of paint the picture for you guys, the energy in the air was filled with a lot of optimism, new inventions, new medical discoveries. This era really helped shape society. However, the Victorians had a very different mindset than how we think today. And I'm not gonna lie, some things that they did were very unusual to say the least. So I'm about to list 5 creepy things the Victorians used to think were normal. So number 1, something very strange that the Victorians used to do was that they would take full-on photo shoots of the recently deceased. So the goal was to make them look as if they were alive, basically, even though they were dead already. So what they would do was they would have the dead body sit on a chair so it can have like something to lean on, basically. And if that didn't work, they would get their family members that were still alive to pose with them so they can kind of help hold the body up while they took photos of them. And sometimes their eyes were open and sometimes their eyes were closed. And if they wanted to get, I guess you could say, really fancy with their photos, they would use a device called post-mortem photography stand. So basically, this device would hold the person's back up straight as well as their neck, so that way they look like as if they're standing. So just to get into what the Victorians were thinking, their thought process throughout this was they wanted one last photo of their loved one before they buried them. And the Victorians were also known to be very obsessed with death. They were a bit morbid, so taking pictures of their dead loved ones as if they were alive, I guess kind of seems like a good idea to them. Okay, so number 2, another crazy thing the Victorians did that would be considered crazy today would be wearing corsets. But I know corsets are normal. A lot of people actually still wear them. However, it's very few women that still wear them, and they definitely do not wear them as religiously as they used to back then. You guys, people had corsets for the daytime, they had corsets for the nighttime, they had corsets for outdoor activities. So by the age of 16, girls would have to start wearing corsets daily. But when I was doing some research, I found that there were actually advertisements for children to wear corsets as well, like little girls. Little girls should not have to be worrying about their waist, you know. I don't know, I thought that was ridiculous, but yeah, they would advertise this to children as well. The part that I thought was the strangest, that I didn't even know existed, was that there were even corsets for pregnant women. So during the Victorian era, women were praised for being very pure. They liked that innocent look. So when a woman was pregnant during the Victorian era, as normal as it was something that was still a little bit shameful, because it technically meant that a woman was sexually active. Therefore, that's why she was pregnant, which doesn't even make sense. Like, that's how you have babies. But anyways, the purpose of these maternity corsets were basically just supposed to hide your pregnant physique. It was supposed to make your stomach look smoother and not so much to show off your pregnant stomach. The creepy thing about these corsets is that sometimes some women would take it to the extreme and they would tighten up these corsets so tight to achieve this you know, this unrealistic beauty standard. The tightly laced corsets would compress the lungs and the intestinal organs. It was actually dangerous the way that some of these women would tighten their corsets so tight. I remember that I would go to university and I'd go up the stairs to go to my class, right? And when I would, I'd feel so out of breath by the time I got to the top of the stairs. I don't know if it's because I was out of shape. I don't know if it's because maybe the stairs were like, I don't know. Maybe it's because I was out of shape. But I can't even imagine doing that in a corset. In some of the most extreme cases recorded, some women had actually shrunk their waist to 14 inches. So I have my measuring tape right here. 14 inches, you guys. 14 inches, hold up, is right here. No way. Loki, go that way. No way. No way. You guys, this, come over here, Loki, come. Let's see if he'll let us. This is like the size of Loki's little head. Oh my gosh. So it was actually very common for women to just faint back then, which actually makes a lot of sense because in the movies, in the movies, women would, like old movies, I mean, women would faint all the time, and I remember being like, really? But it makes sense now because they were probably, you know, excited or shocked, and then with those tight corsets, like it can shorten your breath even more. So number 3, during the Victorian era, there was many medical discoveries and people were learning a lot about the human body and how it works. And people who were studying anatomy in university were technically legally allowed to dissect cadavers. The problem here was that universities only allowed 55 cadavers to be dissected and experimented on. This left many upcoming scientists, upcoming doctors, to still want to gain that experience hands-on of what the heart looked like, of what different organs looked like, dissecting this part of the body and that part of the body. And according to them, it was very hard to find a family that wanted to donate their dead loved one to science. So what ended up happening was that grave diggers or grave robbers, there's different terms for it, but that became a huge thing during the Victorian era. So these grave robbers, what they did was that they would wait for a funeral to happen. They would wait for the family to bury them and then to leave. And then that night they would go and dig up the dead body and sell it to students, anatomy students, you know, those doctors and scientists that wanted that hands-on experience. Sometimes these grave robbers would get so desperate to make extra money that sometimes they would take matters into their own hands and single out a lonely target that they don't think would be missed, such as a prostitute or just homeless people on the street, or whoever they can find that they felt they can kill them and sell their body and no one would notice. So it was a very dark part of medical history, I guess you could say. And I don't think doctors today would ever want to partake in any of that. But yeah, it's pretty creepy that they used to do that back then. So number 4, this was something that was popular among Victorian teenage girls. So this is more of like a charm or a fortune-telling game. Girls like to do this for fun. So a group of girls would get together and bake a cake. And they would drop little silver objects into the cake and then bake it. So once it was done, they would each cut a slice of the cake and whatever silver object they got on their slice of cake, it was supposed to determine their fate. So for example, if a girl found a silver ring in her slice of cake, it meant that she would live a long and healthy marriage. If a girl found a dime, like a silver coin, in her slice of cake, it would mean that she was going to marry a wealthy man. And if she found a silver wheel in her cake, it meant that she was going to travel a lot. So when I was reading this and I saw silver wheel, I was just imagining like the little Monopoly pieces, because I don't know where they would get a little silver wheel from, but just imagine like a little silver wheel of some sort. And lastly, if a girl found a key, it meant that she was going to have many lovers but never a husband. So this isn't really all that creepy, but I found it fascinating that many of the Victorians were actually very interested in dark magic, fortune telling, and luck charms. So I've personally never been to a gathering like this. I had never heard of anything like this, so I wanted to include it because I thought it was kind of interesting and a little creepy, I guess. So yeah, so number 5. Number 5 is definitely the darkest and worst thing I think the Victorians did, and that was have human zoos. So many Victorian travelers would actually steal or buy people from around the world. So the people were usually dark-skinned, but they basically took anyone that looked just in general very different from they did, and as long as they weren't white, yeah, that's basically who they wanted in their zoo. So they would replicate different habitats from Congo, Sudan, Morocco, and many other different places. And they'd have these people that they took live in these exhibits that they created. So the purpose of this was to allow Victorians to take a closer look and see how people from around the world in these other countries or continents would live in their natural habitat. And to make things worse, the owners of these museums or human zoos would actually tell the foreign people that they brought to dance around and jump around whenever people came to see them, to basically make them look more exotic. Obviously, never in a million years would this ever be allowed today. And I don't think anyone would want it to be. But the Victorians had a very different mindset than ours. And it's very scary to know that human zoos actually exist. Sorry for going a little dark on that last one, but these are just some things that I found on the internet. And thank you so much for watching 5 creepy slash scary slash crazy things Victorians used to think were normal. So if you like the video, just go ahead and give it a like. And I'm kind of upset because I wanted to wait to film this video until my Halloween earrings came in, but it's taking forever, so I just decided to wear my green earrings instead. But I hope you like my amateur Halloween decorating skills here. Like, honestly, I kind of want to show off my bats because they look pretty cool. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye!